All right, so I have to admit, and this is probably not smart YouTubing, but I'm going to take a unique approach with this video, and I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go. Hang in there with me. The Cleveland Browns are at a crossroads. There is some weird crap going on with DeShaun Watson. I have kind of a unique take on it, but I have a question for you as we start this video. Please feel free to comment and respond with the answer, and then listen to what I have to say. Um, and the question is, what side of the fence are you on with DeShaun Watson? I think there's three sides. There's the get him out of here side. There's the stick with him. We gave him a ton of money side, and he still has it in him to be a phenomenal quarterback. And then there's the on the fence. Let's wait and see. Just get him healthy, and then we'll see what he is when he is healthy. So I was looking at a couple of different articles, and one was a little more harsh than the other. But here's what I want to do in this video. And for those of you who don't know this channel, we're Lions fans. We have another channel, Sports Talk Detroit, but we love teams like the Browns. We relate with you. We understand the national media doesn't. And so we want to give some praise to those teams, and we want to report on those teams. So here's what they're saying about DeShaun Watson. He said there's a strange vibe. This is on Pro Football Talk. And this article was written by Mike Florio. And I mean, he does a good job. He's fine. Between the Browns and DeShaun Watson, we know that. And nothing has happened in the recent days. So let's just start. And I'm not going to read this whole article, but it started in week 4. You guys know this story. You destroy the Titans, right? And then all of a sudden, Watson's on the report with a shoulder injury. He was limited in practice. Everybody thought he was going to play. He said he'd play against Baltimore, and then he didn't. And then you had a bye week. And then you had another game against the 49ers, and he didn't play. And then against the Colts, he plays. He gets out all of a sudden with a concussion. Maybe he didn't actually have it. He goes into concussion protocol. He's cleared from that. And then he doesn't come back in. I remember I'm watching NFL Red Zone, and they're like, and the guy's just sitting there saying, DeShaun Watson was cleared in concussion protocol, and he's just not coming back in the game. Now, there's more to it than that. So what I want to do is talk about how DeShaun Watson responded to a couple of different things and in an interview recently. So I'm going to go ahead and share another article. Believe it or not, this is on Fox 8. All right. So here's what he said, talking about why he isn't playing through the injury. He said, why wouldn't I want to play? I worked my butt off. I don't swear on this channel. For 2 years to get back playing. He said, for 2 years, he worked his butt off to get back playing. He said, none of those national people know me. Hey, that's why our channel's here. Like, we want to stand up for the little guy. Like, we understand the national media doesn't always know what's going on. The problem is neither does the local media, neither does the coaching staff, I don't think. He said, none of those national people know me and they don't talk to me. So why would anybody listen to that stuff? All right, DeShaun, I agree with you. So tell me something different. He said, if it's not coming from me, that other, there were some expletives basically saying that other stuff isn't warranted. He said, I've played football since I was 6 years old. I want to play. Okay, he was not mincing words. He was then asked if he thinks when he might be able to play again. And he said this: recovery from that type of injury can be 4 to 6 weeks. All right, he wants to get back on the field as soon as possible. I just have to go through the process again. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? He has to go through the process again. He said, rehab, get back with the docs, and try and strengthen the shoulder. Here's what happened when he took that hit. I'm putting the pieces together here. He was tested for a concussion. Stefanski would later say that he made the choice not to put Watson in the game. He tweaked his shoulder. He tried to play. He came back. So I have this. I'm not saying this is 100% what I believe, but is there a reality in which DeShaun Watson, his shoulder wasn't healed? Is there a reality in which DeShaun Watson was in a ton of pain, but all he heard was a bunch of negative news, a bunch of negative attention? He heard his coach out there saying, like, he's cleared medically, and yet internally, his shoulder's absolutely killing him. So he goes, he plays, he gets hurt even more, and then he's mad. Like, he's mad about it. And is there a world where this is true? And now we don't know anything that's going on. Maybe he's been mad for a few weeks because he knows how he feels. I've said this on this channel. I've had a rotator cuff thing. I had PT'd it. I am not DeShaun Watson, but I knew how long it took me just to get to here. I knew how long it took me just to get to here. Okay. And then the really hard part was bringing it back down. Like, I knew I had to retrain my body, my muscles. And the last thing that I could do when I was rehabbing that thing, the last thing that I could do was throw a football. That was such a difficult thing to do. And there is a world in which DeShaun Watson, yes, he doesn't have a tear. He doesn't have any damage of that, but a bruise hurts. A sprain hurts. And sometimes pain doesn't allow you to play. So the question is, what side are you on? Are you on the side of DeShaun Watson and trusting that he's a guy who's going to play? Like, maybe he's a guy that's going to play. I don't know. All right. It'd be weird. Like, let's look at his past. All right. In college at Clemson, he played with a torn ACL. He once took a bus from Houston to Jacksonville and back again so he could play for a game when the Texans because he couldn't fly. It wasn't safe for him to fly because of a rib and lug injury. So he couldn't go in a pressurized environment because his lung and rib were so bad. But then he went and played football. Are you telling me that this same guy is like, you know what? I just don't feel like playing. It hurts a little bit. I don't think so. I don't think that's who this is. And I know that this isn't the same DeShaun Watson. I know that a lot has happened since those days. And he's been in the news, and not for good reasons. But generally, you don't just lose your desire to play the game of football. But maybe he is just gone mentally. I don't know. All I know is that he signed a massive contract, and the Browns are getting close to a decision point. But while I think they're on a crossroads, I think it is absolutely a decision to say, okay, DeShaun, you're not going to play for a month, and then we'll see how healthy you are. I think that's a decision just as much as anything else, and hope PJ Walker can keep them afloat because they have an extremely talented team. All right, let me know what your thoughts are, and thanks as always for watching. Seriously, and we'll see you on the next one.